topic for tonight is start to get rid of that debt. We had talked about, you know, writing down all your bills, writing down all your debt, tracking your expenses, finding out what needs and wants are, finding out, just getting a good foundation for your finances, paying yourself first. These are some specific things that I've been teaching this last week. And step 8 is what we're going to get into, is actually the process of starting to paying off your debt. And if you have debt, if you got credit cards, student loans, medical bills, a mortgage, auto loans, a lease payment, if you got any kind of debt, this is something that this is a principle that you can use to get the debt paid off fast. And I used to call on people that had 50, 60, 70, 80, $90,000 in credit card debt. So I've witnessed, these huge amounts of credit card debt. So and this was a while ago. This is over 10 years ago. So it could be even worse now these days. So if you're watching the replay, I appreciate you jumping on. So the process that I'm going to go over is, you've heard of different names. You've heard maybe the snowball effect, the roll down method. There's different names for it, but it's a great method on how to really get rid of that debt so you can start putting more money away for your future. And the example that I'm going to just use here real quick, and this actually goes back to step 1, is writing down everything that you have for debt. So if you haven't done that already, take a piece of paper, write down all your credit cards if you're carrying credit card balances, write down your auto loans, write down your student loans, write down your mortgage, anything that you owe money to, write those down. And I'm just going to specifically focus on credit cards because that seems to be like the biggest issue here in the United States. I know there's people that plug in from different countries, and some of the people that I've spoken with in different countries, they say it's the issues over there as well. So I'm going to use credit cards as an example, anything of like a revolving line. And how this works is, what you're going to want to do is write down all your bills, all your debts, and go from smallest to largest. So, and like the smallest balance is on the top, all the way to the largest, maybe your mortgage. And we're going to do the roll down method. And I'm just going to use some numbers here real quick here just to give you an example of how that process looks like. It can be a small process to get started, but once you start gaining some momentum with paying off your debt, it's literally like a snowball. Like that second, third, and fourth bill can get paid off very, very fast. Largest in amount or interest rate. What you're going to want to do, and there's so much material out there on what to pay off first, what to pay off last. I'm going to share with you what I've done and also what I've seen in most of the books that I've read. So you're going to want to write down all your bills that you have, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to start with before I get into what to pay, I'm going to encourage you to keep paying your minimum payments on all the bills that you have. Don't just go after one and don't pay the other ones. Keep paying your minimums, whether it's 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 150. Keep paying your minimum payments, but go after your lowest bill with your highest interest rate, and then keep paying that minimum and anything in addition to start paying that off fast. So let's say there's a furniture bill that you owe $500, that minimum payment's $20, the interest rate's $18. You're gonna pay $20 on that. And if you can pay 40 or 60, pay that. But then if there's like another card out there that's got a $1,000 balance, once that $500 bill is gone and you've made that $20 payment on that bill, and your next bill, which is $1,000, that minimum is 40. What you're going to want to do is, instead of just making the $40 payment, you're going to take the $20 that you were making on that first bill, and you're going to add it to the minimum of your next bill. So now you're not just making a $40 payment, you're actually making a $60 payment on that $1,000 bill. So what you're going to do as you're paying all your cards, minimum balance, you've already paid off your department store card at $500, which was a $20 minimum balance. And then the next card is a $1,000 balance. That was a $40 balance. So you paid off that first one. So now you're applying $60 to that bill until that bill is paid off. All right? So once that's paid off, you've been making $60 payments. But wait, there's another card out there. There's a MasterCard that somebody owes $2,000 on. The minimum on that is actually 80, and usually your minimum payment's usually 2 to 3% of your balance. That's usually how most credit cards operate. So you were just paying $60 on those two bills. The minimum for this $2,000 card is 80. So instead of making the $80 payment, you're going to roll over the $60 that you were making, and you're going to apply it to the $2,000 bill. Now you're making 100, so 60 plus 80 is 140, right? So instead of making just an $80 payment, which you've been doing this last 6, 12, 18 months, however long it takes to get to this one, now you're making a $140 payment. A $140 payment, and the minimum is 80. So you're actually almost doubling the minimum. Now, it might not seem like a lot, but do the math. 2,000 into 140, that's going to get paid off a lot faster than just making like an $80 payment. So that's going to take a little while, but now you've paid 2 bills. Now you're working on bill number 3. Things are starting to look good. You're starting to develop some momentum. If you've ever been in part of this process, it actually gets really exciting at this point, because you're starting to see some progress. You're starting to see, wow, like, all right, we closed that one. All right, we paid that one. All right, now we're on this one. But there's still, 2 or 3 more out there, right? And there's some families that got 5, 10 credit cards, right? So you got to write those balances down. So let's say the $2,000 bill is paid off, and you've been making $140 payments, but there's, we forgot about the American Express, the cruise from 5 years ago, right? I say that in jest, but there's lots of people that are paying on a vacation from 5, 10 years ago, actually. Like, that's why we have an issue these days here in the U.S. with spending. So, and I've been in the same boat too. So that's a $3,000 balance. The minimum payment is $120. You've been making $140 payments on that MasterCard. Now instead of $120, now you're making $260 payment on a $3,000 balance. That's actually going to get paid off pretty fast, because you're paying almost $300. So just figure that out. $3,000 to $300, that's what, 10, 12 months? So that might seem like a long time, 10 or 12 months, but once that's paid off, you only got one more left, a $4,500 card, right? And we're looking at 4, 7, 9, 10. We're looking at like $11,000 in credit cards. That's really like the average of people of what they have for cards. So once the $3,000 balance is paid off, and you were paying $260, now there's the biggest card, which is the Visa, and the minimum is $180. So add $260 to $180. Now you are making a $440 payment on your biggest card, and that's going to take literally 10 months to pay off, versus $4,500 into $180 plus interest, right? So hopefully this makes sense. What I'm actually going to do, not next week or anytime in the near future, is I'm actually going to put up a board here and actually show you physically how to do that. Because when I just read off the numbers, it might sound good, it might sound easy, but I learn really well visually. So if you got questions, I guess I'll just say this. If you're carrying debt, if you got credit cards, if you got student loans, medical bills, collections, if you get all this different debt and you're like, man, I don't know where to start. There's so much, I just don't know where to start. You can email me. My email is nick@nickniber.com. You can go to my website. There's a contact form. Goes right to my email. We can talk. I can help you. So I want to provide value to you. And if this means getting debt-free in 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, how would it feel to be debt-free? Wouldn't that feel awesome? Wouldn't it feel great? There's so many people that are not debt-free, that can be debt-free. There's just not that focus, and there's pressure from society saying it's okay to keep on getting in debt, and it's not okay. So hopefully this helps. I know I sort of sped through this process, and the reason I did is because I will go more into detail. Thank you. It is making sense. I will go more into detail, and I'll actually use real. These are numbers just from a book that I'm reading right now. but it's going to have like the balance and the interest rate and the minimum payment, and I'll actually draw it out and show you what that process is and how many months that's going to take, versus if you just are paying off bills unfocused and just keep using the cards, right? So if you got credit card debt out there, don't beat yourself up. What I would say is just take some action today and just make a decision and say, hey, this is what we're going to do to pay off this debt. You know, it might be December of 2017 that it might take to pay off that one credit card, but I'd rather it be the end of 2017 than to be 2025 and you're still carrying the balance, right? That's your future we're talking about here. So, and your future is important, especially if you're married and you got kids, but even if you're just single, you still want to create that nest egg of security, because really what a savings account is, or targeted savings, what that is that's an insurance policy against bad things that might happen to you. So if you have $10,000 saved up and your furnace breaks and you have to pay $5,000, you've just insured yourself. Important to stop using cards as you pay. Yes. So, and I go over that in the 9 steps, Glenn. You definitely want to stop using those cards. And this is step 8. Some people teach it as like, all right, get out of debt right now. Like, I actually teach people to get a handle on what you're spending your money on before you start attacking your debt, because a lot of people don't even know what they're spending their money on. They really aren't. They're not writing it down. They're not figuring out like what they've spent their last 30 days on, you know, how much they spent on gas or rent or, you know, cell phones or, you know, fast food or restaurants. You know, that's most people don't know because they don't want to know. So my goal is to share a little bit of that truth, a little bit of that brutal reality, and help people get out from under where they are. And if you're completely debt free, you probably like clicked onto this video and you clicked off because you're like, hey, that doesn't relate. So if it doesn't, that's totally fine. But if you know someone that is and you want to help them, but they might not listen to you, a great way to help them see what the possibilities are by sharing this video. You know, I don't know what kind of device that you're on, but you can swipe left, swipe right, up or down based on whatever device that you're watching this on. I'm going to be posting this on my Facebook page. It's going to go on my YouTube page. I got like almost 60 videos on my YouTube page. This is all free information for you guys. This free information, it's focused information. I'm not going to go over 27 topics on a 5-minute scope. I'm just going to go over 1, maybe 2 at the most. So the call of action today is, first I want to say thank you to all the viewers who are watching this. Thank you for those that shared this tonight. I really certainly appreciate if you share this on Twitter or Facebook, or even just emailed it to somebody, because you can just copy the link and send it right to somebody, even in a text message. But this is what I encourage you to do if you haven't done this yet, is go to my website, nicknyber.com. There's a little link right there where you can just put your name and your email, and I'll send you a free PDF for the 9 steps on how to take control of your finances. And if your finances are great but you know someone that aren't, go ahead and download it anyways, and you can give it out. If you have debt and you wanted to get control of your finances, go ahead and sign up for it. But print 2 copies, give 1 to your neighbor, and you and maybe a family or friend can go through it together, right? Sort of be like accountability partners for each other. So thank you again for jumping on. I appreciate the hearts, appreciate the dialogue here. And I'll be covering tomorrow, I'll be covering step 9, the final step out of these 9 steps. And it's fun being able to share this, because the best way to learn is to teach, and I've learned a ton, but by sharing it, I'm learning in the process as well, because when you verbalize something, it's more than just reading it out of a book. So thanks again for jumping on. I appreciate it, and have a great night, and I'll see you all tomorrow.